Okay. So again, welcome to this career readiness session on central employability skills regarding written and verbal communication. My name is Nicole LeConte. I'm one of the career specialists with the Career and Job Placement Center at CLC. My colleague has also joined me, Barbara Billimack. She's also a career specialist. And so again, a few housekeeping rules. If you wouldn't mind throughout the presentation, keeping yourself muted. There will be an opportunity to ask questions towards the end of the presentation, or if you would want to place your questions in the chat, and we'll address those towards the end. Feel free to have your video on and off as you're most comfortable as well. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So the mission at the Career and Job Placement Center is to create a bridge to success for students through innovative workforce solutions by developing and building a talent pipeline to sustain the economic growth for our community, employers, as well as stakeholders. Technical difficulties with my mouse. We aid students in making the transition from education to employment via a number of services, which I will provide an overview later on in this presentation. To begin this presentation, I'll start with a quote with the National Association of Colleges and Employers, also known as NACE. According to an article in February this year, actually, the authors discuss the importance of written communication skills as a competency. They begin their discussion by quoting the previous NACE article that states, career competencies, also known as soft skills, are a vital component of a successful transition into the workforce. However, there remains a gap in how students and employers rate proficiency levels in these competencies. Oral and written communication skills, along with the leadership and professional work ethic competencies, are the three main areas where students and employers most radically differ when evaluating proficiency. Communication skills are highly valued under normal circumstances, but they take on new importance in a time of Zoom meetings, distance learning, as well as social distancing. In the same article, a small research study that the authors conducted describes where student interns and mentors are asked to rate the student intern's proficiency level in each of the NACE's competencies, where the proficiency levels are awareness, basic, intermediate, advanced, and expert. The proficiency levels reflect the student's knowledge, experience, and application of a given competency. For this particular study, they actually focused on written communication skills. And they compared how students rated themselves in this competency versus their mentors. And what they found was that their findings basically aligns with what NACE found in regards to the gap or perceived gaps in this competency as it pertains to how employer views student competencies and student assess themselves. So they concluded in this particular study that students tend to overrate themselves in regards to written communication, with a few students actually underrating themselves, but for the most part overrating. So basically, they viewed themselves as having more effective communication skills than potentially what they actually have in reality. Some of the reasons for this, the authors mentioned, could be that students are not aware or necessarily aware of the difference between academic communication versus in the workplace or in a business setting. And so when they are evaluating themselves, they're thinking more along the lines of how a professor has evaluated them, such as research papers or anything that would require them to communicate in a school setting, and may not necessarily understand the differences or have had the work experience to understand what an employer expects as far as communication styles and effectiveness. So let's start with the simple dictionary definition of communication. Merriam-Webster defines communication as a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior, or more simply put, an exchange of information. Sorry. This is a graphic representation of the process of communication. So the sender initiates the conversation and begins encoding the conversation by conceptualizing the message that they intend to convey. Encoding begins when the sender uses certain words or nonverbal methods, such as symbols, signs, and body gestures. Once the encoding is completed, the sender gets the message that they intend to convey. And the message can be written, oral, symbolic, or nonverbal, again, such as body gestures, silence, sighs, sounds, or any other signal that triggers the response of the receiver. And the sender also chooses the medium or manner through which they want to convey their message. The medium must be selected carefully in order to make the message effective and correctly interpreted by the recipient. Oral, virtual, written, sound, and gestures are some of the most commonly used. The receiver is the person for whom the message is intended or targeted, and the receiver tries to comprehend the message in the best possible manner so that the communication objective is attained. Feedback is the final step of the communication process that ensures the receiver has in fact received the message and interpreted it correctly as was intended by the sender. It increases the effectiveness of the communication as it permits the sender to understand the efficacy of their message. And the response of the receiver can either be verbal or nonverbal. In fact, it has been argued by many that as much as 93% of communication is actually nonverbal. And the noise as represented on this slide demonstrates the barriers to communication or any interference that makes it harder for the receiver to receive or interpret the meaning of the message. Some examples could be physical noise or distractions, psychological noise, such as the person's reputation or stereotypes, and semantic noise where the receiver doesn't actually understand the language or grammar that's being used. So senders should consider the length of their message. Is the message too long? Is it too short? Are they rambling? Less is typically more, especially in the workplace. So don't overdo it with facts and neglect to engage others with emotion. Also, grammatical mistakes can be distracting, and don't assume that the receiver has knowledge as it pertains to unexplained technical language and terminology. So which career readiness competencies do employers value most in their new college hires? Employers responding to the National Association of Colleges and Employers Job Outlook surveys have consistently indicated that critical thinking and problem solving, teamwork and collaboration, professionalism and work ethic, as well as oral and written communication skills are all essential competencies. These top 4 competencies have remained consistent in previous years, and all of the 4 top rated competencies are rated essential. In terms of proficiency, employers gave recent college graduates slightly higher marks in the 8 competencies noted for the year 2019 relative to prior years. You'll notice that all the ratings still fell in the range between somewhat proficient and very proficient, as reflected by a 5-point scale, where 1 is considered not at all proficient, 3 is considered somewhat proficient, and 5 extremely proficient. Employers surveyed felt that recent graduates were most proficient in teamwork and collaboration, skills, digital technology, and critical thinking and problem solving. Interestingly enough, I was just telling my colleague Barbara, who's actually going to be conducting the next session on career readiness and critical thinking and problem solving skills. They actually found a smaller gap with this particular competency in critical thinking versus communication skills, which I found to be very interesting. So WiseStep Recruiting Firm has an interesting article online on the types of communication skills employers are looking for. These are some of the most obvious ones, including verbal, nonverbal, listening, written, and telephone skills. So verbal obviously is the manner in which one speaks, pronounces their words, how an individual has a command over the language, and being able to convey messages clearly. These are all significant to an employer. Nonverbal, which I mentioned previously, your body posture, language, gestures, the facial expressions you use, your eye contact are all forms of nonverbal communication. So for example, if a candidate demonstrates poor eye contact in an interview, this may actually convey a lack of interest or lack of confidence to an employer. Listening skills, someone who's able to patiently listen and be able to interpret the meaning of a message and put it to action are all necessary. Written skills are also just as important as verbal. It's important that a person be able to express their message or ideas in a professional manner and tone that can be clearly understood by the receiver. And telephone skills are often sought out by employers, being able to effectively convey your message with only sound while maintaining the interest of the receiver. Other communication skills not as commonly considered are presentation skills. How one presents themselves and the organization that they represent is significant. Employers want someone who can represent their organization well and portray a positive image. Many, if not most, positions require good presentation skills, so keep that in mind as you're job hunting. Persuasiveness. This difficult skill refers to how a person is able to make the receiver believe him or her and accept their message and decode it in a way that the sender wants. This communication is highly valued by employers. And another that's not often considered when you're thinking about communication skills is how well do you accept criticism? Are you able to listen to and positively accept criticism? This is a desirable trait, as well as being able to honestly acknowledge your mistakes as opposed to an employee who immediately lashes back negatively when criticized. And then motivation. Employees who are supportive in their words and are motivating demonstrate likable characteristics that help to promote a friendly work environment. So in another article I came across, they provided their examples of workplace communication situations, which I thought would be helpful for those of you who are have little work experience. So team meetings, whether online or in person, you may have one-on-one feedback sessions with your supervisor, receiving information in various ways, communicating about project status or the progress of a project. And then collaboration on cross-functional tasks is another example, or working with team members on a particular project. Some examples of workplace communication methods and types includes, again, in a meeting setting, face-to-face or online, memos, emails, manuals, procedures, writing reports, developing forecasts, depending on what industry you're in, plans, writing disclosures, invoices, case files, quarterly reviews. These are all a variety of examples of communication types, specifically in the workplace. So in an online article, actually this year, entitled 12 Tips for Effective Communication in the Workplace, as authored by Julia Martins, she describes her thoughts on elements of good communication. Specifically, aiming for clarity. So whether you're sending a message, drafting an email, or giving an off-the-cuff reply, always aim to clearly communicate your message. She also mentions or suggests seeking to solve conflicts and not creating them. So the reason you're communicating is typically to solve a problem or promote effective collaboration on a project or task, in particular from the standpoint of a team leader or leader or manager. Good communication in the workplace can bring up blockers or provide feedback, but make sure the goal is to get to a better place than where you are now. Then she also mentions communication and emphasizes communication goes both ways. So every instance of communication in the workplace is an exchange of information, even if one person is only communicating non-verbally. She also had great tips for effective communication, a few of which I'll mention here, but I encourage you to read the article in its entirety as your time permits. So knowing where to communicate and about what. Communication, again, happens in many different forms, face-to-face, over email, via instant messages, and in work management platforms, depending upon where you're working and your role. And to be most effective, make sure you're following communication guidelines and messaging about the right things in the right places. So knowing what you're trying to communicate, not only what you're trying to communicate and communicating that clearly and effectively, but also determining what mode or manner you would be most effective depending upon your message. Speaking face-to-face, as much as you can. Again, particularly as a leader, this is a great way to avoid miscommunication since tone can be difficult to discern in writing, and being cognizant of your body language and tone of voice as you're speaking. You don't want to present yourself in a defensive, crossed arms manner with a negative tone of voice, as that will make it less likely that the receiver of your message will actually listen to what you're trying to say because of your nonverbal body language and tone. Again, stick to facts and not stories. So she mentions when you're communicating to focus on the facts as opposed to not only giving the stories, which there's always a time for that, but for the most part, focusing on giving facts. And when you're hearing a story, don't overanalyze and make assumptions. If there's something that you're not clear about, and if for some reason it happens to pertain to you, that's one of those things where you want to get clarification in a one-on-one platform in a individual meeting to get clarity, as opposed to bringing it up in a team meeting. And then making sure you're speaking to the right person. Effective workplace communication is as much about who you're talking to as it is about what you're saying. Poor communication often occurs when you're talking to the wrong people or trying to share information in the wrong setting, as I mentioned previously. So make sure the right people are in the room and receiving the message. So I'm just going to go over a few tips that I have and more of a perspective of recently high school graduating student or anyone who may not have had a lot of work experience, if any at all. So when placing and answering phone calls, make sure you're utilizing a positive and upbeat tone of voice, show enthusiasm while still being natural and attentive. Make the customer that you're speaking with feel comfortable and smile, as it truly can be perceived through the phone. Speak clearly and enunciate your words. Avoid slang and filler words such as yeah, and like. Also, don't chew gum or eat while on the phone, the same as you wouldn't as interacting with someone in person. Make sure that you come across as sincere and genuine. Be certain to say hello, include your company's name, provide your name if it hasn't already been asked or you haven't already given it, and ask their name while offering your assistance. For calls that are transferred to you internally, I do suggest stating the specific department you work in, as it is possible that the customer was intending to speak or needing to speak with someone in a different department. So that's helpful for them to know, just in case they were transferred in error to you. Be specific with your answers as possible. Avoid stating I don't know or what you can't do for the customer. Rather, you should emphasize what you can do. When you truly don't have an answer, inform the customer that you'll research and look into it, and then obtain the answer to their question. If the answer for some reason is not readily available, be sure to give them a specific time frame in which you plan to follow up with them, and make sure that you actually follow through. Also, try to remember their name and use it throughout the conversation, as it demonstrates your genuineness, care, and attentiveness. When concluding your conversation, ensure that they have the necessary information that they need. And again, end the conversation on a friendly note, such as saying, have a great afternoon. When interacting with customers, again, make sure that you're paying attention and actively listening. Speak clearly, again, using an upbeat tone of voice, and be conscious of your body language and demeanor. You want to present yourself in the most professional and positive manner. Use great eye contact. Keep your arms open and not crossed, as that can be perceived negatively and as a defensive posture. Smile and avoid slouching as much as possible. And begin your introduction with a friendly hello, how may I help you, as opposed to the informal and way too casual hey. When utilizing email to communicate, practice being clear and concise with your message. Consider using bullet points to outline your points. And before sending, always reread your message and double check for grammar and misused words. If necessary, have someone else take a look at what you're writing before you send as well. Copy back any salient points when replying to an earlier email message you received. This helps the receiver quickly recall the previous discussion that you two had. And then use a specific subject line description that accurately describes the contents of your email message. I also suggest practicing the 24-hour rule when you're upset about a particular message. So instead of quickly responding, make sure that you're taking time to calm down before composing your reply. It could be that you completely misconstrued, so I would suggest politely obtaining any clarification that's needed to avoid any unnecessary conflicts. Also, avoid using shortcuts and abbreviations in business email communications, such as what you would use typically use in a text. And don't forward viral or non-work related messages via work email. You want to make sure that if you are going to forward anything, that it's pertaining specifically to your job, anything that's work appropriate, such as industry articles, are acceptable. So be cognizant of what you're sending. When it comes to general office professionalism, make sure that you understand and respect the boundaries of others. You shouldn't interact with your customers in the same way as you would your friends, colleagues, or peers. Maintain professionalism in your work environment as you communicate with your customers, your colleagues, and your supervisor. And be cognizant of titles and addressing others by their title when appropriate. So for example, if you happen to notice that an individual indicates their doctoral degree credentials after their name and correspondence, and this is your first time communicating with them, try to address them as such, as Dr. whatever their last name is, unless they specifically mention to you that that's not necessary to do so. Again, showing respect for others and how you address them, including your language and tone of voice. Your tone should be always calm, respectful, and cordial. And again, avoid using slang words or language that is too casual, such as yeah or hey. And obviously don't use bad or offensive language. Follow others' leads for those that you're not familiar with, including requests to be addressed in a certain manner, as I mentioned previously. Pay attention to your body language and cues, and as when you're engaging others, I should say. You may be able to discern while paying attention to their nonverbal cues, whether your communications are actually being perceived positively or negatively by looking at their facial expressions, listening to their tone, their verbal responses, as well as gestures and body language. As it pertains to engagement with supervisors, I'd like to highlight a few areas. It's very important that if you know you're going to be absent or tardy in a particular day, that you contact your supervisor in advance before the start of your shift. Follow any absence procedures or protocol for calling in absent or late, whether that be via phone, email, or text if your supervisor happens to allow that. And some supervisors actually prefer that you speak with someone versus just leaving a voicemail message. So make sure that you're abiding by their specific absence procedures and guidelines. Also, take initiative. Don't be afraid to ask questions and seek clarification when needed if you're unsure about something or a particular task. Take note so that you aren't always unnecessarily asking the same questions over and over. If you happen to have completed all of your work tasks or projects, be proactive and find ways to productively contribute to your department. Ask your supervisor how you can help them or assist others in the office. It's also important to demonstrate integrity in your work. being honest, respectful, and responsible as you communicate with others and in how you handle your work responsibilities. CJPC hosted a career talk panelist discussion last year in which representatives from various employers provided their insights to students on essential employability skills. One of the panelists at the time, Rob Colino from United Conveyor Corporation, referenced an acronym PEP, which stands for proactiveness, efficiency, as well as persistency. He suggested in being proactive, being resourceful, asking for additional responsibilities if you have the extra time, and being persistent and following up on pending items as well. So not just waiting for an answer or guidance, but following up on those answers that you need as well. So I came across an online article entitled 4 Effective Styles of Communication in the Workplace on the Small Business Chronicle website. This article actually references 4 styles of communication, including the controller, promoter, supporter, and analyzing styles. These styles are similarly aligned with the DISC personality profiles for those of you who are familiar with or have ever taken the DISC test. The DISC acronym stands for dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. This article emphasizes the importance of understanding how the listener communicates and adjusting your own communication style to better communicate your message to them. So I'll briefly summarize each of the communication styles in the following slides. As I do so, think about which communication style profile is most similar to yours. The controller tends to want the facts and they're task-oriented. They can appear to be insensitive or bossy. Their priority typically is to get things done and they want the bottom line, not the details. So a tip for communication with this communication type is to arrive on time to your meeting, which you should do for any communication type. Turn in assignments promptly without excuses and use concrete terms and get straight to the point when communicating. The promoter style loves people and talking. They appreciate humor with sensitivity. They're naturally sociable, so expect long conversations. Also expect to interact with this style and allow extra time to socialize before your actual agenda, beginning your actual agenda for business. And they tend to show curiosity and enthusiasm and relate better to stories and examples. So use them to make your points. When interacting with this style, smile, lean forward, and show off your listening skills. Try utilizing a visual approach and use illustrations when working with someone with this style. And according to the article, supporters are the most prevalent style. They appear to be calm and cool, and they also tend to be low-key and patient individuals. They tend not to like conflicts, have great listening skills, and tend to be competent, steady workers and are open to exploring change. Consequently, they're open to considering all new ideas and are more concerned about the process you actually utilize to getting to decisions that you've made as opposed to just the facts. So the analyzer style tends to be detailed organizers. They need all of the facts before recommending the best path of action to take. They receive information readily and have a serious, straightforward approach. To communicate with this type, win their approval or favor by arriving on time with specific data and provide any backup documentation when possible, and prove your case with logical, abstract explanations. With that in mind, be prepared for debates or questions from this particular communication style. So that will help as far as having your data in front of you so that when they do ask you questions, you have that to provide to them right away. So right now I'd like to play a short video entitled 4 Great Styles of Communication. Bear with me while I try to share this with you all. One moment, sorry. Okay. Bear with me, I'm sorry. Let me try this again, and so you can hear the sound.
Great communication. There's a big topic. How do we communicate great in today's world? It's not easy. It's never been harder. The world we live in today moves fast. Attention spans are low. Everybody has enormous information at their fingertips. People don't listen very well anymore. It's hard to be heard in the 21st century. So how do we communicate really, really well in that kind of an environment? It's not easy, but we can make it easier for you. And here's how. Think about anybody that does anything at a very, very high level. Think about the singers, the actors, the dancers that you know. Think about the athletes that you know. And if you look closely at the way they have become very good at what they do, they all prepare in the same way. They all practice their skill in the same way. They break the skill down into smaller pieces. They improve their performance on each piece. They put all the pieces back together, and then all of a sudden, they're performing at a higher level. That's the way we want you to think about your communication skills. Let's break it down into smaller pieces. Communication is a big topic. Let's make it more manageable. We think communication comes down to 4 key skills. Number 1, how you assess situations, how you look at the world around you, your level of awareness, how well you listen. The better we are able to assess what's going on around us, the more likely we are to communicate in a way that's relevant to people. Number 2, message. How well do we build a message plan based on what we've learned? How do we put it together? What's most important? What do we include? What do we leave out? What do we lead with? The better we can build a message plan, the better we will communicate. Number 3, document. How well do we translate that message into whatever document we need on that day? Maybe it's an email, maybe it's a white paper or a memo, maybe it's a PowerPoint presentation. But how well do we take that message and then translate it into a document that's actually going to help us in that meeting, in that conversation? And number 4, deliver. How well do we deliver? How well do we speak? How well can we command attention with presence when we stand in front of the room, or when we lead the phone call, or when we participate in a conversation? Don't just think about your communication skills as this one big thing. It's actually 4 things. And your ability to, number 1, assess situations, number 2, build good message plans, number 3, translate that message into a document that helps, and number 4, deliver with confidence and presence. Think about each of those 4 skills, work on each one of those skills, put those skills back together, and then guess what? You're going to be communicating at a much higher level. Great communication. There's a big topic. How do we communicate?
Okay, so overall, I believe that this video effectively demonstrates how you can tackle improving your communication skills by breaking it down into 4 manageable pieces so that you're not overwhelmed by the communication process. As the narrator mentioned, start by evaluating how well you assess, how well you build your message, and how well you document. And please note that it's not always necessary to have a written document. It just depends on the specific circumstances. I provided examples earlier in the presentation. Sometimes your main method of communication may actually be a brief meeting or a quick verbal conversation, and not necessarily an email, visual presentation, or a formal written report. Lastly, he suggested concentrating on how well do you deliver your message. So hopefully you found this video to be helpful. Bear with me while I share my presentation again. So some other suggestions for improving communication skills would be to seek feedback from your supervisor and or colleagues, excuse me. Your supervisor may be proactive in providing you with regular feedback. However, this may not always be the case, as management styles tend to vary from person to person. So take the initiative and reach out to your supervisor, schedule a meeting if necessary, or if they happen to have an open door policy, stop by and inquire as to how you're progressing in your role. Find out areas that you can improve upon and get clarity on their expectations. Also, try to align yourself with a mentor. It doesn't necessarily have to be as part of a formal established program or mentor relationship, but find someone in the organization with whom you are comfortable with, that you respect, and their input can be invaluable due to their experience in that particular organization and knowledge regarding workplace culture. They can also provide helpful guidance and honest feedback in a safe context for you. Lastly, use other opportunities to practice your verbal and written skills, such as taking a class or a workshop, participating in team projects, which could be either in the classroom, workplace, club, volunteer setting. Also consider joining a club or organization where you can utilize these skills more effectively. So once you've actually completed these things, you know if you've actually met your, excuse me, let me go back a little bit. So there's another article that I read in which they had suggestions for developing communication skills. So they suggest starting with a well-written and proofread resume. In a survey from NACE, 82% of employers said that they're looking for written communication specifically on the resume. So if you happen to have a typo or grammatical error on your resume, you might come across to that potential employer as being incompetent. So you may not even get called for an interview at that point. So the resume is extremely important as far as how you are demonstrating your writing skills. Practice sharing stories and experiences with people outside of your inner circle or network. Being able to clearly and effectively articulate your thoughts and ideas is important to being career ready. And then consider setting up a mock interview with either your career mentor, or we actually offer that service in our area. Career Job Placement Center can meet with either Barbara or myself to practice your communication skills in real time and feedback through a mock interview. Other tips for communication or improving your written communication skills include making sure that you have a clear goal in mind before you begin writing. So an example might be taking into consideration what you wish for your reader to obtain as a course in action, and then trying to address your goal and key points quickly in your communication in an organized fashion. Making sure that you're only including the necessary details and considering whether or not your message is clear. Is the detail necessary, that any detail that you've included necessary for the reader to understand the goal of the message? And if not, making sure that you condense your message. And is your message being written as simply and directly as possible so that they get the points? So some other things to consider when communicating or certain various circumstances. How well do you communicate in challenging circumstances? When it comes to workplace conflicts, how would you confront or address someone with whom you disagree or may have a personality or cultural differences with? When it comes to stressful situations, such as an interview or job interview, are you able to maintain your composure and remain calm in your communication under pressure, excuse me? How would you go about dealing with an irate customer? So just some things to consider. And I will conclude this portion of the presentation with another video in regards to workplace conflict, which I believe you will find helpful. Hold on one moment. I'm about to share, Barbara. If you can't hear it, let me know or see it. Let's see.
Workplace conflict can sometimes be difficult to avoid. It can arise in every job, no matter the field of work. Before you can resolve a conflict, you'll want to think about the conflict itself. Listen to your own thoughts and feelings, but also consider why the other person feels the way they do. You may not agree with them, but understanding their point of view can help you to communicate with them more effectively. After considering this, find a time to talk with the other person. It's best to do this in person. Words and feelings can often be misinterpreted over the phone or via text. Before meeting, make sure you're in control of your emotions. Going into it angry or upset will set you up for failure. In the meeting, the first thing you'll want to do is identify the issue and respectfully state your needs. You want to do this without placing any kind of blame on the other person so as not to make them angry. Also, make sure you give them a chance to talk and that you actively listen to them when they do. Once you've both voiced how you feel, try initiating some kind of resolution. Brainstorm some possible solutions, offer a compromise, or try listing pros and cons with the other person. Hopefully, you're able to agree on something, but if not, it's important to keep calm and bring in an unbiased third party if possible. Someone like a supervisor may be able to help clarify and resolve the situation. Conflict can be stressful, but if you keep your emotions in check and approach things with an open mind, finding a solution can be that much easier.
GCF Global.
So I thought that would be an important video to share with you all, because more than likely, if you haven't already, sometime in your career, you will have a workplace conflict. And so it's very important how you are able to manage and navigate through those conflicts. So hopefully that was helpful to you. With that being said, I'm going to take just a few moments of your time to talk about Career Job Placement Center and our services. So one moment while I share my slides again. So we have a new, we still have Lancer JobLink for those of you who are familiar with the previous platform, but we are now on a new platform that's tied to Handshake. And on this site, this gives you an opportunity to actually post your profile and resume for employers to quickly see. You're still able to conduct job searches, and it also matches you to employers looking for your particular skills. So if you have not already built your profile on Handshake, I strongly encourage you to do so. It's a great platform, and you can also schedule appointments again with myself or my colleague, Barbara Villamack, look at upcoming events, et cetera, and scheduling appointments with us. So when it comes to appointments, we are offering appointments either in person, via phone, or email, via Zoom, and then also virtually through communications and Lancer JobLink powered by Handshake. So now to actually schedule an appointment, this is how you would navigate. So once you've logged in, I'm assuming most of you on here registered through Handshake, so you should have an account already, but you would utilize your CLC login or an account that you created on the site and navigate by going to Career Center, then Appointments, clicking on Scheduling a New Appointment, and then Career Services. And from there, you should be able to navigate to the specific educational programs division that you're enrolled in to either view my appointment availability. I primarily work with students in EMPS and adult ed, and my colleague works with students in communication, in the communication division, as well as biological sciences. As I mentioned previously, we can help you for with upcoming interviews that you may have, or even if you don't, just to get some practice. We can cover topics such as your, strengths and weaknesses. Those are typical areas that employers would ask during an interview. Other commonly asked questions they may go over with you, and other types of interview questions such as behavioral, et cetera, and how to address those hard to answer questions or those most challenging questions. We're also available to assist you with your networking strategies and how to build your professional network and references, particularly on LinkedIn. As I mentioned previously, we do host job fairs throughout the year and other recruiting events, such as Part-Time Mondays, where you have direct access to employers. And speaking of Part-Time Mondays, we do offer bi-weekly throughout the academic year. We have employers come on campus, typically near Student Street, in which employers are recruiting specifically for part-time paid opportunities. So this is a great way to get some work experience in that will work with your class schedule while also making extra money. And then here are some upcoming events and programs. So I mentioned earlier that Barbara Billimack will be presenting on the next topic, which will be critical thinking and problem solving on November 10th at 5 p.m. So make sure that you register for that event. If you have not already, I strongly encourage you. It's a great session. And we'll be having these topics periodically throughout the year. So keep an eye out for email communications, as well as when you log into Handshake, you can view all upcoming events there as well. Something that you may not be aware of, this particular Essential Employability Skills program, we are covering 7 topics throughout the year, 3 this semester, and I believe 4 next semester. At the end of each semester, once you've participated and attended all sessions or viewed all of the recordings, you'll have an opportunity towards the end of the semester to take an assessment, a short assessment, in which if you successfully pass, you'll be able to include the fact that you participated in this program on your co-curricular transcript. So please keep an eye out in regards to communications on that as well, and make sure that you get registered for all of our upcoming topic sessions as noted on this first flyer here. Other events will, the October 1st will begin the month of for Manufacturing Month, in which we'll have a slew of events, I should say. One of which will be the employer panel discussion from a variety of employers in the manufacturing industry. That's coming up on Wednesday, October 6th at 10 a.m. This will be a virtual event, so please register for that as well. And then keep an eye out. We have a lot of events planned for you all, so we're excited about that and to see you all there. And then we have our, on the CLC website, take a look. You can also take a look at our variety of services on our CLC website. You can connect to Handshake that way as well and look at other upcoming events, and the video recordings will be posted for these sessions as well through our website here. So when it's all said and done, we're here for you. We offer internship opportunities, on-campus student employment. I talked about Lancer Job Link, our various events, including fairs, job fairs, and resume assistance that we offer, job search strategies, mock interviews, networking, etc. So as far as where we're located, I just realized we just recently moved from A111. We're now in C111, where for those of you who are familiar with the campus, Grayslake campus, we are near the library across from IT. And so feel free to stop by, schedule an appointment with us. Our office hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30 p.m. with the exception of Fridays during the summer. And there is our main contact information as well. And here are my sources for my presentation. And that concludes this presentation. Now I'll give you all an opportunity to ask some questions if you have any. Let me stop sharing so I can see all of you. Are there any additional questions? I'll give you a moment or two just in case you're thinking about it. You're welcome, Stephen. Doesn't appear to be any questions, but I really hope you got some valuable information from this session today. Again, please, after this session, go ahead and register for the next session on critical thinking and problem solving that's being held on November 10th at 5 p.m. and all future sessions as well. If you think of any other questions later, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Nicole LeConte, and I'm one of the career specialists with the Career and Job Placement Center. It has been a pleasure to present to you today, and I look forward to meeting with you all if I have not already. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.